Got the barbecue going. We got some music. So this is part of our movement. It's just hanging out, being social, and enjoying ourselves together. So keep doing what you're doing, and we'll get this show kicked off when the party comes.
Bring back the track. 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 Bring back to another level.
This is Cyberstrike, a virtual reality in which two players go head-to-head for the ultimate prize, their freedom. The rules are simple. The game system is connected to your pulse and you are generated a weapon. If you do not defeat your opponent before the time is up, game over. Entering the arena. Good luck. Entering the arena. Good luck.
Let's get a warm welcome for Mad Max Bernier. Yeah, just give me some roster, right? Yeah, I'm gonna get all the candidates up here.
Yeah. There's a whole list that he's got to go through.
Yeah, they're all right here.
How are you? Good. Thank you. Tell me.
Yeah. So we have all these people standing behind you with the candidates and stuff. Yeah, it'll be me. Couple things. We got you going at the end. Freedom! Freedom! Freedom!
Okay, so we look over the batting order. What's happening on the batting order? Go ahead. I didn't see anything. I don't have my glasses.
Okay. So what do we got? Okay. And then what's your...
So, starting now.
Yeah.
Introduce PPC candidates in attendance,
Right.
which I believe are these ones.
Yeah. And you're going to have Michael, Henry.
This guy might go before Henry. Chelsea said to bring
Okay.
him on. He's hot.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we've been doing the introduction things. And every other one.
Okay, so you want to switch?
I didn't know. Where's Chelsea?
I have no idea. Can I get all the PPC candidates, the regional PPC candidates, to come over here on the right of the stage momentarily? And anyone else who anticipates being on the guest list? Just going to read some names here. We're looking for Donald Welsh, Salim Mansour, Bruce Party, Michael Teason, Aaron Rock, Henry Hildebrandt, Kate Wand, Kristen Nagel, and Randy Hillier and Maxime Bernier.
We are facing unprecedented opposition, censorship, etc., from very powerful forces in our society. So we have to outmaneuver those people and deliver our message.
So, everybody, welcome to the Great Canadian Comeback. So, we all know why we're here. We are facing unprecedented opposition, censorship, etc., from very powerful forces in our society. So we have to outmaneuver those people and deliver our message directly to the people, just like we're doing now. Because, see, our movement is not just a campaign. It's not just a candidate. We are a national movement of free people who are going to have our voices heard. We're going to stop fighting for our freedoms and our rights. So the people we have here today are the leaders of this movement. So I'm going to just bring up the PPC candidates. We got Wayne Baker from Perth, Wellington. We've also got Brian Everett from Sarnia. Daryl Mackey from Oshawa. Wendy Martin Adam Kent Leamington. Mike McMullen, London West. Kyle Free, London Fanshawe. Mark Emery, London from Lambton, Kent, Middlesex. And we got Cole.
PPC.
Okay.
We're live,
So,
everybody. Say hello to the audience.
first, we're going to have a speaker. We got a couple speakers, so I'm going to bring up Vince Aries. I believe he's a retired police officer, and he has some information to share with us about what's going on behind the scenes with the police forces. So let's give it up for Vince.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vincent Gerses. For those of you that don't know me, I've had 32 years of service with the Ontario Provincial Police, now retired, and I am not here to represent that organization. I'm no longer affiliated with that organization. I am here as a representative of a group called Police for Freedom. It is an international organization. Yeah. So Police for Freedom, as a member, we do not endorse any political candidates. So I'm not here to endorse a political candidate. So why am I here? I'm here because they asked me to come here to speak. And if any other party were to ask me to come and speak, I would speak at their rallies as well. And I would deliver the exact same message that I'm going to deliver tonight. A lot of things have happened over the last few weeks, and I can say in an explosive manner, the amount of police that have now come on board with us is incredible. I am speaking what was dozens of police officers became hundreds. No longer. It is now thousands of police officers across Ontario and even more, thousands more across all of Canada that understand the issues that we are dealing with, that are smart enough to understand the violation of our charter rights, that wish to join in and bring back justice. They are sick and tired of what they have been seeing, the injustices that we have been dealing with, and they are prepared to push back. It is quite obvious that over the past several weeks, we have been seeing coercion and what could amount to other criminal offenses associated to coercion happening on all levels, where our legal system is somewhat overrun by people doing what they think they can do that they can't. And the police that I am in contact with across this province and across this country are determined to push back to restore justice to this country. They will not tolerate what they are seeing. They want you to know that what their organizations may say to them or do to them for wishing to expose the truth, to do what is morally right, to do what is ethically right, to prevent them from doing that, their message is, we don't care. We will fight this. We will voice the truth. We will do what is morally right. We have balanced our moral compasses, and we will do what is ethically right to reveal those criminal offenses by who may have committed them. We will identify them, and we will take action. In addition, a vast program to monitor all media content over the last 6 months and correlate it to the data that has been available at that time, to review the data and then hold media agencies accountable. This will not be an easy task. The idea will be to involve civilians, to educate civilians on your rights and your authorities and your abilities to investigate. We all have the ability to investigate. And the Sir Robert Peel's principle of community policing has never, ever been more evident than it is today. The police are the people, and the people are the police. In addition, I'm now in contact with more than that number. I can't give an exact number, but far more than that number, probably 6,000 or 7,000 fire services, employees, fire services, and EMS workers across this province who are also on board pushing back. So this will be a daunting task, and I just wanted you to know on behalf of Police for Freedom, which is available online at policeforfreedom.org, that the Association of Police Officers are looking at taking similar initiatives and working together to exchange information. The core message is we do it as morally right, we do it as ethically right, and we just want to expose the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Give it up for Vince. So now we've got Pastor Michael Thiessen of the Liberty Coalition Canada. We, for those of you who don't know, we had a massive Canada Day rally. He was deeply involved in the planning, and it was a great day. So give it up for Mike.
What a wonderful and amazing crowd. Thank you for coming. Woo! I'm going to be one of 3 pastors who are speaking at this event. I'm in the Alliston area, and Pastor Aaron Rock is about to speak and share. Pastor Hildebrandt is about to speak and share. And there is a reason why we are standing up this evening and participating in this wonderful event to celebrate Chelsea and to celebrate Maxime. We are some of the few pastors in Ontario who have actually been charged. That's right. And we face fines, we face imprisonment in order to simply keep our churches open as places of refuge during some of the most difficult times in Canadian history. What transpired in January was that a group of pastors and politicians and lawyers joined together to establish what we now call the Liberty Coalition Canada. We worked to start something called the End the Lockdowns Caucus. And tonight I want to celebrate specifically how Maxime Bernier, the leader of the PPC, was one of the founding members of our caucus, and how I personally have learned to trust Max over these last number of months. If you got to know me, you would know that I like to be a little bit humorous and I like to be a little bit direct. So when I met Max for the first time, I asked him for 2 things and then threatened him with his life. The first I said to him is, Max, what voters really want, and particularly I represent many Christian voters, what Christian voters want and what Canadian voters want are politicians who will simply be honest with us. Don't come into the room, smile and wave, and promise me the world. Just tell me what you're going to do so I can figure out if I can support you. Be honest with me. The second thing I asked is, then would you please just do the things you said that you would do? Just follow through. And then jokingly, I said, this is a pastor talking, so I will call the fire of heaven upon you if you disobey these things. And he laughed just like that. But I want you to know that since that day, since we established the End the Lockdowns caucus, Max has kept his word down to the T for everything he's committed to do on behalf of Liberty Coalition Canada and the End the Lockdowns caucus. He's been honest with me when we've talked about policies and when we've talked about issues that him and I may disagree upon. He's never once promised me something and then turned around and publicly changed his mind. That's right. So I wanted to stand here and encourage every single one of you. You can trust Maxime Bernier to be honest with you and to do the things that he says he's going to do. That's right. So let us go out from here and let us tell other people to go and vote. And let us tell them to vote for liberty as a principle. And let us share the stories that we have of Maxime about how we can trust him. And then let us vote for liberty. Go vote!
Hey! Yay!
So next on the docket, someone you might be very familiar with. I'd like to invite to the stage Pastor Henry Hildebrandt.
Max, now you know what we believe in Elmer. Now you know what we're standing for. And when I say Elmer, not just the city, not town of Elmer, but all around, to us, this is the foundation. And you don't throw that out. You don't throw that out. I realize that they seem to be throwing this out. They seem to be throwing this out. But let me tell you something. When you touch God's people, when you touch humanity, when you touch our very foundation, our very faith, you are touching the apple of God's eye. I always tell people, don't worry, I'm not mad, I'm just very passionate. I'll give my life for it because this is life for us. Don't close the churches in Elgin County. Don't do it anywhere. But I'm saying don't close them. Well, Pastor, you don't realize that we are in a so-called pandemic. Well, even more, don't close the churches. If we ever needed one another, it is right now. I have never, ever in my life before felt closer to you all than I do now. Because I know what we are standing for. I am extremely offended, and I take it extremely personal when the people that claim to represent us in Ottawa, when they send out that pamphlet and not a single word about God, not a single word about the church, not a single word about being free Canadians, not a single word about free speech, not a single word about freedom of assembly, that is offensive. And if they don't know how to change that, then we will. After all, it was never the people for the government. It was the government for the people. And let's never forget, long before there was government, there was God. You sound like a preacher. You guessed it right. And if we can't be passionate about our faith, then let's fold it up and let's go virtual. We need to be together, and we will gather. The church must gather. I've got one final sentence for you. We aren't giving up. God bless you.
Absolutely electric, guys. How does everyone feel about this? Are you guys feeling good? How scared do you think the political establishment is right now when they see thousands of people gathering to see us? On Monday, September 20th, they will have no idea what hit them. So, our next speaker has made a lot of waves here in Elgin, Middlesex, London. I would like to give it up to Chelsea Hillier, your next Member of Parliament.
Thank you here tonight. So much. It's amazing. So round of applause to all of you, okay? What we've seen this last year is Canada go towards the collective and completely abandon the individual. In the collective, individuals can't matter. They don't matter. And this is why over the last 18 months, individual suffering hasn't mattered, right? Your business is closed, you can't feed your family, you're suffering mental health addiction, those kinds of things. It doesn't matter because everything's for the collective good. And now we see this when it comes to vaccine passports. You don't want a vaccine, it doesn't matter. You have to bow down to the government and do what they tell you in order to work, in order to support yourself and your family. It's absolutely terrible. And we are going to say no to that on the 20th. I see this election as a referendum on the last year and a half. And the PPC is going to do well. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Look around. Have you seen another political event for any other party that is even remotely close to this? They're lying to you still. When they tell you the numbers and they tell you that we're a fringe party and they tell you that we don't have a chance and we can't get a seat, look around, remember this, and carry it with you, and have hope and take heart, because on September 20th, we will succeed. The silent majority will have their voices heard. I've been so privileged to work with so many great people over the last 18 months, and then over the last couple of weeks of this election. Oh my gosh, people have come out in droves to support the PP. This movement, the people who support this party, are the best people in the world. And they tell us all kinds of rhetoric about who we are and what we believe and that we're divisive and everything like this. Look around. This is not division. This is a unified people.
Individuals who have come together with the intent of making sure that they are heard. So, I'm actually going to wrap it up, and I'm going to pass it over.
Have been working tirelessly for 18 months to regain our freedoms and to make sure that our Constitution and our Charter of Rights and Freedoms stands once more. So, everyone welcome to the stage, Pastor Aaron Rock.
Three cheers to Kelsey!
It's great to be in Elmer, Ontario. This is my wife's hometown. This is where we were married. About 10 generations of my family grew up in Elgin County, even though I live down in Essex County now, but it's good to be back in a place that I consider my second home. And I know there's some friends and family members here, some of whom I haven't seen for 35 years that I bumped into tonight. So God bless Elmer. I would remind us that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms begins with the declaration, the preamble, that we as a people believe in the supremacy of God, not the supremacy of the state, not the supremacy of the government, but the supremacy of God and the rule of law. And yet, unfortunately, over the past 18 months or so, we've seen God's churches closed, pastors arrested in our country, pastors fined, threatened with jail time, being denied access to hospitals, being denied access to officiate at funerals, weddings, etc. And frankly, it's an abomination and a disgrace on our nation. We also believe in the rule of law, and yet sections of our charter or our criminal code, like 176, are just tossed aside, which forbids the interruption of a service or the arrest of a clergyman in his duties. And all of this has been replaced with what we would call in political theory stateism, where the state declares itself to have absolute authority over your marriage, your family, the education of your children, your churches, your capacity to work, your capacity to speak, what you can tweet, what you can post on Facebook, etc. And frankly, it's a disgusting thing that we're witnessing, and it's a shame. And we will resist it. Last year they came for pastors like myself, Pastor Henry, Pastor Mike, and others across our land, Pastor Coates, Pastor Stevens, and now they're coming for you. They're coming for your jobs, they're coming after your bodies, they're declaring themselves to be lords over you. And we will resist that as people of righteousness, as patriotic Canadians. As has been said many times in this campaign, this is without a doubt the most important election in Canadian history. Why? Well, we have some lies. We got here by lies, we get out by truth, right? So we tell the truth. And one of the lies is that don't vote for parties that advocate for freedom and liberty. Why? Because you might split the vote. Folks, there's no vote to split anymore. You have 5 options on the left, and you have one option that stands for liberty and freedom. We all know how we got here. PPC! Our nation is in ruins because of compromised politicians and compromised churches. Voting for compromise will only further accelerate the ruin. We need a fresh start. Secondly, we're here for freedom. Without liberty, there's no future. There's no future for our nation, for our children. If you study history, no nation in all of human history has ever endured more than a handful of generations under statist, totalitarian, dictatorial control. It simply is a dysfunctional way to live and to function as a nation. We will resist that as well. We're here also for our children. 2 of my kids were married this summer. One was married a couple years ago. I got 2 more in the hopper, I suppose you could say. Soon I hope to be a grandpa. And I'm already thinking about how my children are growing up in a different world than I grew up in. And my grandchildren, God willing, I don't want them to grow up in a dysfunctional, totalitarian, statist regime. And yet our politicians have indebted us more than any other government before. Did you know that in Ontario, which is where we're at tonight, this is the most indebted sub-sovereign state on planet Earth?
Shame!
And they have people out there saying, well, vote for me because I'm going to give you more. I'm going to give you more. I call this the selfish vote. We need to think about the future of our children and vote for a party that is fiscally responsible. Finally, it ends now on September the 20th, or it will never end for years and years and years to come. We don't have 4 more years to wait. It ends now. And if we permit vaccine passports, we know, because we've observed what's taken place over the past 18 months, it will just get worse and worse and worse and worse. So on September 20th, let's end tyranny and let's stand for liberty and freedom in the great country of Canada. And may God bless us all.
Our next speaker has been known to raise a ruckus or 2 throughout his time in politics. Let's give it up for Randy Hillier!
It's a real plus to be in Elmer tonight. Seeing thousands of people out for freedom in Elmer tonight. And listen, we've been traveling around the province, and everywhere we go, the crowds get bigger and bigger and bigger. The purple wave is not just a phrase, it's all of you. That's the reality. The purple wave is sweeping through Canada. And Justin Trudeau and O'Toole are going to wake up in a purple haze. Yeah. And I look out here, look out everywhere. If you listen to the media, if you listen to the pollsters, if you listen to the other political parties, we don't exist. We don't exist. We're nowhere to be found. Well, here we are. Here we stand. And here we stand for freedom. Listen, on Monday night, this election, this vote, some people think this vote is about who will be elected to the House of Commons. But truly, really, What this vote is about is the future for our children and our grandchildren. That's what we're voting for on Monday night. That's who we're defending on Monday night. This vote, this election, this is not just an election. This is a war that we've been in, a big battle that we're in. And together, Canadians, when we stand together, when we stand united, we have never, ever lost any battle in our history. And we're not going to lose this one on Monday night either. This last 18 months, I know it's been hard on a great many people. As an elected representative, right back from the beginning in March of last year, it was devastating to hear the despair on the phone calls and the people calling my office, distressed, depressed, didn't know if they were going to be able to keep their homes and their businesses, didn't know what the future was going to bring, not being able to get access to health care, their children being told that they're dangerous vectors of disease, and our governments were deceitful, they were duplicitous, they kept telling us what they knew was a lie, that just do it for 2 more weeks, just stay home for 2 more weeks, stay isolated, stay confined, don't see your loved ones, don't see the sick and the elderly, don't go to church, and well, just 2 more weeks, and then, well, maybe wear the mask as well, just wear the mask for a while, then that'll end, and well, maybe another lockdown, 1 more lockdown, a second, and a third lockdown, and now we're into the vaccines, and vaccine passports, and boosters. And what we know, every political party is invested in this narrative and this story of fear, of danger, of control, and it won't end. It'll never end unless we make it in on September 20th. September 20th is when we end this madness. This has been a political crisis for 18 months. And the only way we solve a political crisis is at the ballot box on polling day. And I want to tell you, there's a purpose, there's a reason why the media and the government are not acknowledging this, why they're not coming out to cover these events. They don't want anybody to believe that you're here. Right? They want to demotivate you. They want to disempower you. And they want to fill you up with more misinformation that you can't win. And it's untrue. It's a falsehood. We can win. We will win. We will win with oppression. And I just want to share this one story. We know there's 6.5 million Canadians who are opposed to this madness, who are opposed to the mandatory vaccines and the vax passports. Amen. But most people don't realize Justin Trudeau won the last election with 6 million votes. Can we win? Yeah! Absolutely. Get off the coast. Get involved. Put an alarm sign. Get to the voting station. Scrutineer. We will win on Monday. But I'm going to tell you, there is one little part of this election that I have some disappointment with. Okay? I won't be able to vote for Chelsea Hillier. Now, what kind of father isn't available to vote for his daughter? But I know Chelsea is going to make a fine elected representatives. She's heard me all these years at home, taking phone calls from constituents, listening to their stories, advocating on what we can do to assist them and help them and prevent injustice when it faces them. On Monday, vote for Chelsea Hillier. I know she's going to make a fine legislator. She's one of the hardest debaters I've ever had around the kitchen table in Lanark County. And I do want to say this. On Monday, we will be successful. We'll have a lot of PPC seats. But the battle won't be over. It'll be the start. It's going to be a big start. But we've got a big hill to climb in this country. We've been on the slippery slope for too long. Way too long. We've been doing a lot of wrong things to our families, to our freedoms, to our responsibilities. And we're going to climb up that hill together with people like Chelsea, with Maxine. And we're going to climb up that hill. And we're going to climb up that hill with Jesus Christ beside us, with us. And we're going to climb up to the top of that hill. And we're going to have freedom, future, and responsibility, and faith. That's what we're going to find when we start climbing that hill. Thank you very much, and welcome my daughter back up here.
Okay, so we're just waiting on Max to come up and speak, right? But first, I want to do something. We want to call up some people by name to stand here behind Max because they're fighting with him and they're standing beside him and behind him all the way. So, and I don't know if all of them are here, but I'm just going to go ahead, all right? We've got Salim Mansour. I know he's here. And Bruce Party. Come on. We have Bruce coming, Bruce, and Michael Thiessen, Aaron Rock, come on back up, Henry Hildebrand, Herbert, come on up if you can. We've got Kate Wand as well here, and Kristen Nagel, come on up. We've got some PBC candidates. We've got Wayne Baker from Perth Wellington, Brian Everett from Sarnia, Daryl Mackey from Oshawa, Wendy Martin, I think, is here from Oxford, and we've got Liz Valley from Chatham, Kent, Leamington, Mike McMullen from London West, Kyle Free from London Fanshawe, Mark Emery from London North Centre, Kevin Mitchell from Lambton, Kent, Middlesex, and Cole Squire from Brantford, Brant. This is the Freedom team here, guys. You ready, Max? All right, let's give Max a big welcome to Elmer, Ontario.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chelsea. You know what you have to do the 28th of September. I want Chelsea with me in Ottawa. That's your duty. And I want to thank you and everybody.
On te remercie aussi.
Merci, Michael, the Liberty Coalition, all candidates, Randy, all our pastors that started that fight together when we were not so popular. You know, my first rally in Montreal, if we had 100 people, that was the maximum. But the last one, 55,000 people, freedom fighters like you. And I can tell you our candidates are ready to represent you, coming from different backgrounds, truck driver, mama, or at home or business owner, university professor, people that are ready to fight for our values, to fight for our country, to put Canadian first and our country first. And I must tell you that I was ready to fight also. I was ready to be on the national stage for these debates, but, and I can tell you, I was a little bit disappointed. But when I saw that debate, that was not a debate, that was a conversation with establishment politicians that share the same views on the most important issues for our country. So I was not too disappointed, and I had more time to travel across the country and meet real Canadians and fighting for them on the ground. And yes, that election will be an historical one, because I agree with Justin Trudeau when he said, only when he said that, when he said that this election will be an election, and he said that when he launched the election the first Sunday, when he said this election and must be an important one for Canadians, because they will have an opportunity to judge my government and the way I managed the COVID-19 crisis. And I agree with him. That will be a nice opportunity for us. And because we are fighting for liberty, our freedoms, more people understand now that what we had the last 19 months is something that we don't want anymore. No mask mandate, no lockdowns, no curfew, no stay at home orders. Freedom. Yes, it's about you, it's about our country, it's about our way of life, it's about our children, and you can count on us. And I want to thank you because of you here. It's because of all you and you that we started that when we were not that popular a couple of months ago. And yes, the freedom fighters, you did it. You did it on social media. You did it at your church. You did it in the street. You did it in the newspaper, Bruce, with your good piece in the National Post. Everybody did it. They used their talents, their voice to speak about our country, about ourselves. And you did like me. You use your words as your weapons. Oh, yeah. And that silent majority is not silent today. And the 20th of September, we won't be silent. That will be our day. That will be our Freedom Day. You know, what we have to do now, when, like Randy said, 2 weeks, they said to us, only 2 weeks to flatten the curve. But I can tell you, my message today, 6 weeks to flatten the lies. 6 weeks, 6 days, sorry, 6 days to flatten the lies. They're going to see that common sense revolution, that freedom revolution that will start. And I can promise you I don't know how many candidates will be elected. 1, 2, 3, 20, 30. I don't know. But what I know, we will have a freedom voice in Ottawa. We will have a common sense voice in Ottawa that will start that revolution. And I can tell you, we will be in Ottawa, but also, because that's only the beginning, and I believe that here in Ontario, they want to impose a vaccine passport like in Quebec, and now because Trudeau and O'Toole are ready to spend $1 billion that we don't have, to be sure that provinces will impose a vaccine passport. So that important step at the election is an important one. But you can count on me, you can count on our candidates, you can count on our freedom fighters to be with you in the street and to protest all across the country, because we need to do that all together. Thank you. Thank you. And
We love you, Max.
I love you too. Oh yeah. And our duty is to do that fight, because when tyranny becomes law, revolution becomes our duty. It will be our duty to start that common sense revolution. And so, what we have to do tonight and for the next 6 days, just be active on social media, speak to your friends, help us to have more and more people coming on our side. And you can speak to liberals, you can speak to an NDP voters, because they're coming also. These voters, they're like us. They know that this country is not going in the right direction with more socialism, more draconian measures. They don't want that. That's why our movement is growing. We have the support of former conservative, but also former people who voted in DP or another political party. They know, like us, they maybe not have the courage of their conviction to be here tonight, but they're looking at us. They're looking at us, and they know when we speak from what we believe, with passion and conviction, when we are telling the truth based on facts and on science, you cannot be wrong, and they know that. So just be there and be respectful like we are right now. We respect everybody. We just want to fight for our freedom of choice. We want everybody to be able to do what they want to do with their body. You know, the feminists were telling us a couple of years ago, my body, my choice. I'm saying the same thing, our body, our choice. And so, you can count on us, I can count on you, and we'll have that voice that will be there in Parliament to fight for you. And I can tell you, we will use all the parliamentary tools that we have to bring that debate, that freedom debate, the parliamentary commission, the questions period. We will be there. And I can tell you, the mainstream media won't be able to ignore us after this election, because we will have more votes than the Green Party, more votes than the Bloc Québécois, and we'll be there to fight for the common sense. And more votes than the NDP. So, I just want to end by the quote that I like, and if you are following me, you may be tired to hear that quote, but you know, never. John F. Kennedy said in 1961, and I like that quote because the situation at that time, we are living in the same situation here in 2021 in Canada. And what he said at that time is very actual for today. He said, in the long history of the world, only few generations has been granted the role of defending freedom in its maximum hour of danger. You are that generation. This is your role. And now is the time. Yes. Stay strong and free, and we will fight for freedom together. Thank you. So, Chelsea, ready? She's ready to be with me. Mainstream media, but we know that we will win that battle of ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. What an amazing night. We showed them something tonight. This is powerful. This is radical. We will win. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to sing in Canada, and we're going to be led by this amazing woman right here. All right, guys, let's do this. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. Through patient love, in all our sons command, with glowing hearts we see and rise, let us true God strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.